Welcome back to another Askari Cast. My name is Rod Van Blake, author of the Ancient Illumination series as well as your Bonnie Chronicles. I am joined once again by Jordan Purnell Jackson.
Hey everybody.
He is a graphic artist, illustrator, creator of Eve of Insurrection, Eve of Reclamation comics, as well as the STEM educational series Growing in the Garden. He is also the illustrator for the Ancient Illumination graphic novels, as well as the Bonnie Chronicles comic books. And we're also joined by Jocelyn Short.
Hello.
She is a graphic artist and illustrator. She is the creator of a Bearers series that she just released a art book for. So, like as usual, when we put the episode up on Spotify, in the description there will be links to my personal website, Jordan's website, Jocelyn's website, in case you are curious about any of our creative endeavors. We always hop on here to talk sci-fi, fantasy, all nerdy stuff, basically. And today, we are getting into Spider Noir, which is a new show on Amazon Prime. Although that's kind of confusing since it's within the Spider-Verse, not released. I know it's it's Marvel adjacent. Kind of, it is Marvel.
Yeah, still, I guess. Some Marvel.
Yeah, but it's weird. It's not on like Disney Plus because
because Sony owns it. They were like, "Hey, we got this element of the franchise."
Yeah. So, not too sure how familiar you guys are with noir content.
I just saw them in the movie. And that was it.
I know about the style, like the overall style of noir.
Yeah, it's kind of the black and white gumshoe private detective story that usually starts with a bunch of either epilogue or monologue where the main character starts pontificating on what's going on. And it is a stylistic choice, things being in the shadow. I think it's odd that they gave the choice of both color and black and white, because it says watch it in authentic black and white or what's it called, like perfect hue color or something.
Yeah, true color, true vision.
Yeah, and it's like, well, shout out to Demetrius Holt of what is it? Blurred Station and Blurred and Powerful. Because I saw his comment on Facebook where he was like, if this was meant to be in black and white, then they shouldn't give you the choice. And I kind of agree.
Me too.
If that's the way you want people to watch this show, then you should not give them the choice of watching it in color. Although you kind of miss out on something if you do that. I chose to watch it in the black and white, but there is a character here where they purposely kind of deck out in these cool little suits that you would not get to see how splendiferous they are if you choose to watch it in black and white. So I guess you can watch it both for originally I would watch it in the black and white first if you want to go back and kind of rehash things and watch it in color, but your first showing should be, in my opinion, in black and white to get the effect. So we'll start going through. Spoiler alert, we're only talking about the first 2 episodes. The whole first season, I believe, is released, but in case you have not watched Step Into My Office, which is episode 1, and Tread Lightly, which is episode 2. Spoiler alert if you haven't gotten those 2 out of the way. It opens up, you hear Ben Reilly, Spider Noir, his character played by Nicolas Cage, saying that someone asked him, what universe was this, which is a strange question. And as far as he's concerned, currently, this is the only one that he is aware of. So I'm assuming this takes place before Into the Spider-Verse. So he hasn't been pulled into Miles Morales' universe and gets to meeting all the other spider variants. Typical noir tropes should be viewed in black and white, and that's how they wanted it. This is a mix of the superhero and noir genres, which I think is cool. Again, I don't know how familiar you were with the noir things, but you seem to have at least a cursory knowledge of it. I used to watch. My mom actually used to watch the black and white films all the time when I was a kid. And this is more where you kind of see this thing going on, and it wasn't quite. I know there's like the stereotypical,
I'm thinking Dick Tracy.
Yeah, they didn't talk like that, but it wouldn't have surprised me if they put that in there. We find out that he is disillusioned when his love interest Ruby dies, and he stops going out as the Spider. So, and they don't call him Spider-Man here. He is the Spider in this, which I think is cool. And Ruby seems to be Ben Riley's version of what we typically would see as Uncle Ben in the
Yep.
Spider-Man universes, except the difference here is that he doesn't end up accepting the responsibility because of the loss. He basically reverts back into himself and kind of refuses the mantle and responsibility after her death. So instead of, with great power comes great responsibility, he loses his love interest, and he's like, nah, I don't want neither of that. You can take this responsibility, and I will just stop using my power and leave it at that, which is interesting. What did you guys think about that?
So for me, I thought that just overall with the aesthetic, I'm the team. We're watching in black and white. I'm like, we came here to see this as like we're going 1920s. We're going old school cinema here. Mm-hmm. I don't want to see it in color. I'm seeing some recap stuff in color, and I'm just like, my brain is there's no. I would have an entire conversation about like color choice. Mm-hmm. And how that affects the experience of the show, and like, is it authentic to the time period, all that type of stuff. But I'm watching in black and white. I like the aesthetic. It looks much better. It's easier to read what's going on. I'm not distracted by color. Okay. And it fits the aesthetic. So like when he's kind of walking in the shadow, like when we have those fight scenes in the first episode in the beginning where his montage. Like him in the shadows with the glowing white eyes, like looks amazing with these stark black. It like looks perfect. And it's easy to also forgive the CGI and set design when it's in black and white form. I actually noticed when I see it in color, it like looks more visibly CGI. It looks like a little overly fantastical in a way. So I'm preferring it in black and white. So, but it's been like a good start. I think like seeing the alternate or the variant form of the Spider in this world was really cool. I like the kind of flip when he did with the power and responsibility. With power and great responsibility, I like his flip on that. I just like where they're kind of picking up with this kind of jaded older man, and just kind of like the crime detective mystery element of it. So I think it's like been a cool start.
Cool. Jocelyn?
I really love how it looks in black and white. Like I really like it feels kind of like a merge of the noir style, like with the comic book, which I really liked. I thought it was really well done. I haven't seen the color version, so I can't really comment on that. I only checked out the black and white because I was like, well, this is how it's supposed to be. This is what I'm watching. It reminded me of, not too much, because I know the comparison I'm about to make is not really a comparison, but it made me think of Sin City.
Okay.
No, that's a good comparison. That's a good comparison, actually. What you mean? That was spot on.
I think.
Yeah, it made me think of Sin City. I don't know if you guys know the comic Black Sad. It made me think of that.
Oh, I never watched that one. Never read that one.
Yeah, it's an excellent graphic novel.
Takes a long time.
Yeah, but I really liked it. I wasn't sure. I think I was a bit worried I was not going to be able to like stay interested. But that wasn't the case. I like the premise of like what they're kind of setting up. I like how powers in every world should feel like extraordinary and fantastical, but in this world so far, like his powers and other people having powers doesn't feel normalized quite yet, and I think that's interesting, and to see where our main character is, like where he is in that journey kind of.
Yeah. And to be fair, Sin City was trying to do the same thing anyway. That was the whole thing with Sin City, is that they were more story, and they just wanted to give you a splash of color to emphasize certain things during that. So We find ourselves in circa the late 20s or 30s, near the time of the Depression. The episode opens up in a bar, which is kind of typical for, well, it's going to be in like his office or in a bar with him having a drink. And he's in this bar and he's looking for someone. He's using a photo, uh, and he's following. He's been hired to do a job, obviously. One of the ladies at the bar, he asked her a question about the picture. Basically, do we have a match here? And she's like, I think you got a bingo. Dude gets up and leaves that he's watching, and interestingly, he's had like a World War One looking, like an army picture, because he's even got the like spaceship looking helmet that they had back then, where it was like the kind of dome top with the circular, almost kung lao brim looking helmet that he's got. And dude gets up, walks out the bar. Ben gets up to follow him, and the only reason he's kind of caught is because he left his hat in the bar, and one of the people at the bar, hey, mister, you left your hat. And so Addison, who we find out later is the guy that he's chasing, says, if you keep following me, it won't end the way you want. And then Ben says, it never does. And then old boy takes off running. Of course, he gives chase. Ben gets hit by a car in the middle of their chase.
Knocked out.
And turns out the dude that hit him is another PI searching for the same person. And they end up finding him. He gets cornered at some oil refinery. And we get the first viewing of like his version of Spidey sense, where like he seems to get like a headache. He reaches for, there's a weird like ringing sound. He reaches for the back of his neck.
Screen starts vibrating a little bit.
Yeah, starts
that jarring nature. It was cool.
Addison reveals he's got power after Donegal pulls a gun on him, because he's like, I'm just as likely to shoot you as I am to chase you. Homeboy begins to set his hands on fire. He's about to set the other. He walks towards Donegal. Donegal shoots him. We find out Winston, the head of security for the local mob boss Silvermane, hired them both for the same job, but offered Donegal more money for the same job. Donegal's passed out. Ben goes through his wallet, finds out who he is, and then Ben goes to his office the next day. After he revives him, basically, officer take him out for a drink. He already knew he was broke because he went through his wallet. He's like, let's go for a drink. He's like, no place fancy, because, and old boy finishes his sentence like, yeah, you only got $3. I know. So obviously the assumption is they went and got drunk together, because when he comes into the office the next morning, he says good morning, but his secretary Janet says, well, it was, but now it's kind of a mediocre afternoon. And we see that he is broke. The phone got cut off because he ain't paid Ma Bell, which I believe is a precursor company to AT&T back in the day. There are lots of little nuggets about the timing of what's going on. But I find it weird that he still has a secretary. And there's something else about Janet I find weird later on these first couple. Don't look at
I want to know what what I do. I'm just asking the
fact
question.
that she's the life that she's in, and her getting upset at certain things, when it's like, that's, to me, it was par for the course. But we'll get back to that. So another job walks in because the call didn't go through. We find a guy. He wants proof that his wife is cheating on him, and Ben looks at the photo and then back at Mr. Carmody and assumes something doesn't add up. He even kind of looks over at Janet and then shows her the picture, like, and she kind of nods, like, yeah, something ain't right. I don't know how. So it's funny how he's like, are you like overly rich? And he's like, not particularly. And he's like, because it's funny, the line of questioning is like, do you have like a special wit about you? Something, basically trying to be like, how is it you are with this woman? This is what I'm trying to point out. Like, this one and one don't make up two with this equation here. When I'm looking at this picture and looking at you, you two should not be together. So what is it that brought you two together? And Comedy doesn't seem to get it. He pays him a little bit of money to go, and he promises to get photos, because Janet basically tells Mr. Carmody that he's the best shot in town. And he's like, I never miss a shot. So he's going to go find these pictures of her that he knows that she's supposed to meet somebody that night at 8 o'clock. He wants to know. And then later on, we are introduced to the reporter, Robert Robertson, who's a struggling reporter. Now, this is the only reason why I have any justification for trying to looking at the colorized version, is they decked my boy out in some pretty slick suits.
I saw so when I was doing a recap, one of the suits that he had on had a really nice orange to it. I was like,
yeah.
come
And
on,
see, that's the only reason I
okay.
would justify. And I saw an interview with him, with the actor that plays Robert Robertson. He talks about the suit he gets to look fly in this series. That's really the only reason I would choose to see is like some of the costuming in it
Yeah.
really shines through. You're not going to get all the colorful suits that he is in the black and white version. But again, that would be on the rewatch. I wouldn't on the original watch. I would watch it in the authentic black and white. Then, if you wanted to go back and kind of pick things out to look at it in color, but your first experience should be in the black and white.
I think it's impressive that I think it is impressive that they did have both versions available. Just because to me that means you had to pick the colors for all of the costuming.
Yeah.
You had to light everything
Yeah.
correctly, like not just well enough, but like correctly enough to where things would make sense in color and black and white. Like stuff wouldn't look muddy. Things there would be like a correct amount of contrast. And I know you could probably like edit that stuff also in post and editing and all that kind of stuff. But I do think
That's the easy part.
yeah, but I do think that there was probably like conscious decision making to choose colors and values of costuming and how to light the city and not light the city, but like when to shoot things, you know.
Yeah. Like the scenes and the shadows and stuff.
Yeah.
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 So the reporter and Ben Riley meet up. I assume they're friends because they seem kind of friendly. Robbie apologizes for being late. They meet up at some like coffee shop, and they kind of bond over their struggle. So we get to see through different messaging that they're both broke. My boy even got his phone cut off. My boy Robbie sits down, and first thing he does is pick a pickle off. He's like, "That's a used pickle," and Robbie don't seem to care. And so Ben tries to convince Robbie. This is later on. He's going to try and convince him to not publish the story. And meanwhile, the whole time, Robbie is trying to convince Ben to go back to being the Spider. And then he tries to push the Ruby button because he's like, well, what would Ruby think? And that doesn't work because he doesn't react the way you would think he would. He's like, well, she's been dead a long time. I don't care what she thinks, which is kind of cold, but I understand. And then later on, we hear Robbie as he's formulating his story that also continues to ask the Spider to come back. Like he's needling that point. Like the city is going crazy. Silverman's run amok in the city, and we need him to come back. And we see Ben Riley reading the article like, "Dang, Robbie, give it a rest. Like I'm not coming back. There's, you keep." You keep giving up this point, and he's sitting out front of the Red Cliff Hotel as he's staking it out to try and catch Felicia Hardy, aka Carmody's wife, aka we find her name Cat Hardy is what they call her at the nightclub singer. Ends up being the mayor that she's meeting with, but they tease him. I don't know if you guys caught this, but they kind of tease him scaling the building as he tries to go in and find out where she's going, what room she's going to, and he basically makes up stuff until he can see that the elevator went up to the very top of the penthouse floor. He goes out to the front, kind of looks up at this tall building, and I was kind of wondering, well, is he going to scale it like Spider-Man would, or is he going to do something else? And he walks up the fire escapes all the way to the penthouse, snapping pictures on the way, by the way. The one weird ass picture he takes was those band-aids or stamps that my boy was putting on.
I thought those were stamps.
Yeah, I think they were stamps.
That's when watching that color would have been helpful, probably actually. But I thought it was stamps. That was a funny little moment.
Yeah, he was just randomly snapping pictures over. We see once he gets to the top, after he like passes out, his stamina is not on point, I guess, for his superpowers. His stamina ain't one up because he was tired. He got to the top.
I'm like, well, would it have been faster for you to? That's why I think in that moment I kind of was like, all right, is this your way of being incognito? Like you're not trying to be seen as the Spider, but like you just probably did you exert more energy? Like climbing the fire escape versus just wall climbing.
I think
'Cause
he just didn't want people to feel like if people saw him doing spider stuff, people
Yeah.
would think the spider's back. So he was trying
I
trying
mean,
to be as
he
low
was.
key as he can.
As he could, right? He's a guy
Yeah.
climbing a fire escape, taking pictures of people.
Yeah,
I'm
I
just
agree with
saying.
Jocelyn. I kind of think he was being stubborn, like it's a blatant refusal to not to use his powers. Like, I'm not using my power to get up here. We're gonna do this old-fashioned way.
He said,
like we
"I'm
normally
actually
do."
just a guy. I'm actually just
Yeah,
a
I'm
man,
like, okay,
and you
whatever.
guys need to see me as just a man. Okay, just because I have spider stuff doesn't mean I'm always gonna do spider stuff. Just because y'all want me to do spider stuff,
Okay.
I'm actually just a man. Okay."
Yeah, you wasted his energy, man. You tired. You was tired coming up the fire escape, buddy. You could have just webbed on up. You could have just
Yeah.
one swoop. Who would have saw you?
Yeah.
But whatever. Continue, Ron.
He gets up there just in time to snap a picture, and then immediately the mayor steals a kiss and gets slapped for his troubles. And my boy is about to retaliate, but Ben stops him using his spider web, tied it to the doorknob. So when he tries to smack her, it shuts the door, and he turns around like, "What the heck?" And then Ben bolts. But he got down quick, so he did something.
Yeah, use the web
He didn't
that
take the
time.
fire escape down. He was like instantaneously down on the ground, running away. By the time the mayor turns around, then we see that Wilson visits the next day his office and tries to double cross Riley when he asks for more money, but Janet has his back with the 32 caliber pistol to his head. And this is where this moment is why I was kind of not really feeling Janet later, because she's in this world, you know who he's messing with, and you done pulled a gun on a gangster. So you kind of know when you operate in the gangster world doing kind of gangster things yourself, you up the blicky on a gangster. What did you think was going to happen eventually?
I know what you're referring to. This makes sense. That makes sense. Mm-hmm.
So Donegal tails Wilson to Silvermane's burnt mansion, and now stupid Donegal wants to shake down Silvermane because they are the only two that know that Addison is dead. He's going to use that to basically string him along and get more money. Ben tells him it's a bad idea, but we know he ain't going to listen. So they leave that alone. And when Carmody the next day comes into the office asking for his proof about what his wife was going on, Ben lies to Carmody and doesn't tell him what's going on because he's afraid of crossing both mobsters, and he's also doesn't want to cross the mayor's office. And he gives the money back to Carmody, upsetting Janet because she's like, "You ain't paid me in a while. Our phone's getting cut off. Like, what are you doing? We need this money." They find Addison's body, and Robbie, the reporter, and then somehow can get into the morgue. And they don't ever tell us how that happened. It just they show up. The dude says, "You only got a couple of minutes."
Doesn't that always happen though? If you got a couple minutes, take a look at the body.
But usually they'll at least give us a peek into how they got in, like what connection they had with the coroner's office.
But they're following formula. They're not gonna go through all that. Show all that off.
So before that, Janet, he gets the Spidey sense, and Janet notices he has Spidey sense. Are you getting the headaches again? He's like, you should listen to it because I haven't heard that. It hasn't steered you wrong yet. And he's like, unfortunately, I don't know what it's trying to tell me. Janet comes up with the bright idea of, if you're not going to take the money from the husband, maybe we should use the negatives of the picture to basically blackmail Cat Hardy. And they positively have ID'd Addison's body. And so Ben knows it's only a matter of time if they've already they have the toe tag on it, that Silvermane eventually will find out that Addison is dead. And once he finds out Addison is dead, he will know that Donegal's been lying to him and stringing him along. So that's going to be an issue. We see Robbie and him having a talk, and he doesn't confirm or deny that someone else has, like he has powers, but Addison has powers. But Robbie deduces that already. He's like, so is he like you? And he doesn't confirm or deny either. They just kind of move on, which I think was weird because I thought they seemed like they kind of confide in each other. But I understand because Robbie's a reporter, that he may not want to, divulge that information right away. So Ben sees Kat Hardy, goes to one of her shows. She's at the alcove. She's a lounge singer up there, and basically after the show is over, he tries to blackmail her, and then he's followed out by her bodyguard Flint, which later we find out is this universe's version of the Sandman, which is cool. So the introductions are pretty cool in my opinion. Um, Donegal was supposed to meet him at the alcove. We find out a few minutes later, obviously he didn't show up because the boys got him, and he ends up getting killed. This was an interesting scene when Flint follows him up to the top of this building. He takes the elevator up and tries to shake him down for the negatives of the photos. They have it out. They go back and forth. Ben tells him, "I'm not afraid of heights," when he threatens him by hanging him off the ledge of the building. Eventually, throughout the fight, he does get knocked off the building, and he has no choice but to, start web slinging, and gets back up in the building, knocks my boy out with a 2x4. They go back and forth for a little bit. Kat Hardy shows up. "Don't hurt him." So I'm like, how did she follow? Did she have a tracker on Flint? Like, how did she follow them too? They weren't like right there around the corner. It didn't seem like. He walked down the alley, luring Flint along, and of course the kid. As soon as he left the place, he put some money in his cup and says, "Do I got a tail in a white suit?" "Sure do, mister." So that was kind of cool. They fight over it, and then they just kind of let go of that. And then the next morning, Janet is about to quit because Ben gave away the negative for free after his fight with Flint. The cat shows up, and Flint's gone missing. That's the end of this episode, that he's gone missing, and now she wants him to find Flint because his powers have started acting up as Sandman. And she says that the powers have only, in the beginning of episode 2, 6 months ago. I kind of have a problem with this 6-month timeline. Like, what do you guys think before we get into the meat of episode 2?
So just to kind of kind of go through things that the first episode, I think that I enjoy a lot of the elements of I feel like we got a lot of elements of noir. You have this kind of temptress woman, instead of typically that would generally be a white woman, blonde-haired white woman probably, or a white woman. They cast her as Asian woman, so I thought it was interesting. And this idea of this Asian woman who's kind of being this not kind of submissive, not playing into the stereotype of being a submissive, being submissive and being more kind of dominant, having kind of control within the story, because she does. I thought that was a nice kind of pivot, deviation. I was like, can she actually? I was asking questions can she sing? I'm like, is she lip singing over someone else? I'm like, who's doing the audio? Who's really singing here? So I was asking those questions because I always think about that in films in general when you have an actor who's singing, and I'm like, man, that ain't that voice. So I think that in general, whatever voice they had her using, or the EQ they did to it, I think it helped give her that kind of that sex symbol vibe you generally get from the lead, kind of this kind of lead woman. And her being that singer performer, so I think she captured that energy well. I thought that the scene with, I think the kind of the lead up with Flint, the introduction with Flint was cool. I like the idea of the man in the black suit with the dark colors, and Flint being in a white suit was a really cool contrast. So when we got to that. Them fighting in that construction area, that building that was being built, it was really cool. I thought that it was funny because the irony of like my earlier statement about clarity is like when we talk about like his sand, like the sands, like him transforming into the Sandman.
Yeah.
I initially I liked that it was very subtle. Something about it was like it wasn't exaggerated. So like when his hands turn to sand, like his hands don't really grow or change.
Yeah.
On the first watch, I was kind of intrigued by it, but I think in the fight scene is good. So I like the fight scene and how he knocks Ben off of the building, and they give us a like, but this him actually kind of falling into darkness where you can no longer see his face, and he gets the web swing. So that was cool. I think the fight was comedic. The fight was actually comedic. It had nice comedic tones to it with the action. It did leave me asking the question like when he knocks Flint out unconscious, and then Cat appears. I was wondering like from the concussion, did he temporarily lose his memory? And like because they kept bringing up memory loss. So
It was
that
only one time.
One time?
Yeah, because he said, does he not, when she comes in the second episode, when he asked her, does he always lose his memory? And she's
Memory,
like, yeah,
yes, I remember that.
only when he's knocked in the head with a metal girder.
Yes. So he says that in the second episode. So like he's not unconscious when he disappears. So I thought that was cool, but then at points it was kind of funny. Like I feel like they could have pushed his transformation a little bit more. So like he felt a little still very too human. So they could have exaggerated things. It's Disney or Sony, so they could have like maybe made his hands a little bit bigger, just because it would have made for a more just like dynamic, interesting scene. And it would better contrast like the fact that like he's actually transforming into the Sandman. Like it would have been cool if some of his hands kind of fell into sand or came out of sand. Like that would have made it a little more interesting.
Well, they do that when they do that when he's knocked out initially.
Yeah.
And Ben turns his back to him, and he starts transforming when he regains consciousness and gets up. It was giving me a little bit of like Wolfman, like in the old black and white Wolfman thing, where he's trying to turn.
But that part was cool.
Yeah.
But I'm saying even with that element of like, all right, you're gonna do this kind of slow Wolfman transformation, you can still push your exaggeration. You can still like this show is black and white, but still over the top in some way. So you can still make things more dramatic, make him a little bit bigger, like change his silhouette.
I think the fact that it was
superhero, but go ahead.
I think the fact that it was subtle was intentional. Like I think it's meant to.
It clearly was intentional.
I think it's meant to get. I think it's meant to get worse over time. Like I don't think it's supposed.
I hope it does. I hope we get this raw, like this level 1. I think about you all the time and Jocelyn, your character design, and I'm like, this better be level 1 Flint. He better not go level. Like he better not be level 1 the entire show. Like he needs to go level 3. Like he's progressively like changed. That would be cool.
Listen, that design tip changed my life.
I know. I think about it all the time. But I also really like Janet. Was it this episode, the second episode? She keeps making fun of her husband.
She always makes fun of her
husband.
I'm
like, this is hilarious.
In the morning when he comes in and says, you got something a little harder, and she's like, I keep saying that to my husband, and then she hands it a drink.
Like, and the funny part of that is like, she just makes these jokes. So like for me, it's always like there's like she's making all these jokes. I want to meet this guy now. Like the fact that you're roasting this man's up. We never seen him. Like there has to be an episode where he appears. Like all they're putting into this dialogue, like this comedic dialogue. But I like Janet as a character. I did like that moment when they pulled up on what was that character's name? The guy that had big ears and big eyes, who's another henchman. What you saying?
Wilson.
When they pulled up on Wilson, I did like that moment. That was cool. I think the things that are a little frustrating, but make sense for the story, like the fact that like Ben is not prioritizing getting money. I'm like, this is very much like Peter. He don't really like he's struggling. This is kind of part of the course of these characters. Like they choose to struggle instead of just they don't got to do anything strange for a piece of change. But it's like, bro, keep the lights on.
Yeah.
Pay your staff, bro.
The witty dialogue is another standard trope to these noir
Yeah.
gumshoe type. Like the back and forth between Ben and Kat Hardy at the alcove when she was like, Flint, Mr. Riley's nice, but he was just about to leave. And he was like, who told you that? He's like, what, that you were about to leave? No, that I'm nice. Like those things that keep happening. Or in episode 2 when he's like, I don't like surprises. And she's like, well, I'll remember that when your birthday comes around.
Yeah, that was funny. That had me down.
Yeah. You good, Joss?
Yes, I'm sorry.
You good. Did you have any other thoughts on episode 1 before we go to episode 2?
I'm interested in the singer. I'm interested in what her role is going to develop into. You know, like it. I like how this is all shaping up. It's like they're doing whodunit stuff
Yes.
alongside of a reluctant superhero, build up, which I really like. Yeah, I'm really interested to see like how all of it's going to play out. Yeah, I think Nicolas Cage is amazing.
He's doing the thing, yeah.
Oh, I was at a festival last 2 weekends ago, and there was a guy who swore up and down. He was mad. He was like, "Why did they have to cast Nicolas Cage?" And I'm like,
He's really good in
I
it.
mean, it seemed like that one guy who was kind of like he might have been that guy that Nicolas Cage was a little overhyped. But for me, I'm like, it makes sense. Then I had to go do research. Like, well, Nicolas Cage was one of the voice actors for Spider. Like, he was the voice actor for Spider Noir in the film.
Yeah.
So it makes a complete sense that they just cast the real person. So I'm like, this makes sense.
Too.
But also,
but also, like, aside from just, it's good that they kept the same voice actor. But I feel like Nicolas Cage as an actor, I feel like he makes sense for this particular version of Spider-Man.
His quirkiness works.
Yeah. Like
we believe it.
Yeah,
him being a fake plumber. We'll get into that later, but
But he's capable in the thing he's capable of, but he's reluctant. But he's really good at what he knows how to do.
Mm-hmm.
But he's still kind of offbeat.
Yeah.
It's a little strange. Nicolas Cage strange.
This whole series, they seem to be teasing out the superpowers for all the characters kind of slowly. The first reveal we get is Addison, and then he's gone. They're slowly teasing out him coming back to being Spider Noir, and they're slowly teasing out Sandman. And we know the Big Brother. I've seen in some of the trailers that he's going to have some power too, and I know Electro is in this too.
I want to know who he's supposed to be though. Like, he almost looks reptilian-like, so I'm not like, is he
some version of Croc? I don't know.
Yeah, he reminds me of Killer Croc from Batman. I was like, I didn't know who he is because I'm a little confused. Is he Lizard Man? I'm like, is he Lizard Man?
Maybe it's gonna be a version of Lizard Man.
He got a missing arm though, but
so we start episode 2, which is Tread Lightly, which we know is a reiteration basically later of Robbie's actually Ben's warning to Robbie, tread lightly because Silvermane's on a warpath. He doesn't want him to release this story, so why don't you just kick back? And we know that's not going to happen either. The beginning of the episode, we see Kat Hardy in Ben's office with Janet, and after because she was about to quit, and then she's like, that's a shame because I was about to give him a job. So she's going to hire Ben to find where Flint. She says his sand ability started around 6 months ago. That's another timeline that comes up again later on. We're talking to Addison's widow, which I'm wondering if they're going to tease this because we find out later that they're all in the same war, and we find out that Ben was also in that war. So are we going to get another Spider origin story, but this one is going to take place overseas during World War I instead of the traditional radioactive spider biting him, something else happens during the war, which also gives these other people their powers while they're out there in France. He knows Kat is hiding something. Janet, too. She has another comedic moment. He's like, "What do you think?" And she's like, "I think you need a cold shower." Hell, I need a cold shower because he's watching Kat Hardy leave the office. He's watching her body sway, and so Janet's like, I could see that you feeling her. And as a matter of fact, she seemed to say, like, I'm kind of feeling her too. Like, you need a hot shower. I might need a cold shower. I might need a cold shower. You might need a cold shower. So Ben follows up on the case and goes to Flint's place. And Janet is going to go to the cop, I guess, to the evidence locker to find some evidence against, trying to do some background check on Flint. Wilson tries to caution Silvermane against this meeting with the Canadians, who I assume are trading in whiskey during the Prohibition, because Canadian whiskey, the timeline of this all. And then Silvermane knows Flint was acting strange, and the disappearance after the death of Addison could be related. So now he wants Riley to see if he knows what's going on. Robbie tries to find Addison's widow after calling his old employer. When I say whoever Robbie used to work for, either because he's still writing articles for the Gazette and they're publishing his stuff. So I don't understand how he's not working if he's publishing articles still. Then he finds an old friend at Addison's. We assume Big Brother comes in like, what you doing here? He's like, I asked you a question. He's like, you did. And because you're a big old dude, I'm going to answer this question.
I'm not your brother. It was hilarious.
Yeah. He tries to.
Oh, man, here you go with this.
We find out that all three later on during this conversation, while Ben Riley is at Flint's place before the boys with Wilson break in, he finds this picture of them in France together. So all three of them were in the same place. Wilson and the boys from Silvermane show up. And we find out because we hear their conversation. Apparently, Flint played poker with the boys because they're all on the same dang payroll. So Silvermane's paying all of them. And narrowly, Ben's able to hide in the closet and keep them from discovering him. Janet bribes the cop with a sandwich and pulls Marco Flint's record, so she knows his background, and talking about he came back from the war and didn't have any prospect, and he had arrest after arrest after arrest. Turns out they all fought in the same war, and we find out that Ben Riley was also in that same war. So it begs the question again: is this the source of their powers somewhere overseas? They all get their powers at the same time, but I guess not, because the beginning of the show, Ruby died 5 years prior.
Yep, that is correct. So Ben had his powers. Ben had his powers.
Yeah. So they get their 6 months prior, supposedly, that they started manifesting his powers. And Cat Hardy plays dumb. She admits because when he finds out this information, he goes back to the alcove after hours and confronts her. So she admits to being in cahoots with Silvermane, that Flint is hired by Silvermane to protect her, and because he technically owns the alcove, he's protecting his investment. And we see later on that Flint is watching her, but from a distance, because he's across the street at a building looking down at her through the window. Kind of weird if you ask me, but that's what he's doing. He's hiding out, not showing up for work, but he's still kind of keeping an eye on her. Then the boys pick up Ben at his apartment. He gives him the slip. You see him doing the Spider-Man hands, cross forward, but he's not doing anything. Talking about Tai Chi.
Tai Chi. Relaxation.
Yeah.
I feel like only Nicolas Cage could do that. I feel like the way he pulled that scene off, it was like Nick was meant to do that. Nick Cage was meant for that role. It was too perfect.
Tai Chi.
Yeah. They try and take him in. It was kind of funny part where they're driving in the car and he apologizes to the wrong dude, but he doesn't though. He's like, I'm sorry about the nose. He's like, that wasn't me, that was him. And then immediately pops him in the nose and rolls out of the car and gets away from them. And they're like, the boss isn't gonna like this. He wanted us to bring him in, and his partner smacks him in the back of the head, and they get back in the car. And of course, that's the end of that for a moment anyway. Ben warns Robbie again. They're sitting out front as the mayor is making a speech, and he's promising that they obviously think he's going to lose this election. The mayor is promising to end prohibition there. They're going to be able to drink alcohol, and Robbie's like, at least he knows his audience. He's like, "You gonna explain your face?" That was a funny part. Like, "You gonna tell me what happened?" And after Ben gives him a warning, he's like, "Well, you warning me, but my face doesn't look like hamburger meat right now. You know what I'm gonna keep doing? I'm gonna be looking beautiful, and I'm publishing the story. If I don't publish, I don't eat, my friend." So Robbie still wants the spider back. He's telling him, "Hey, we both broke. I need to make some money. If I can't make this money if I don't publish the story, so I'm gonna do what I got to do." Um, then we see a weird. I don't know if you guys was this scene weird to you too, with Kat modeling for Silvermane and Wilson, and them being like super
Yeah.
dismissive of her.
Yeah.
That was
I mean, the sense I got from it was just that it was alluding to the fact that she has some sort of arrangement that is similar to the way that they're describing what they're describing. And, and the moment she tried to be like, well, actually, and then they were like, we're done.
Yeah.
Get on out here. We paid you to do a job. We paid you to do a job.
That was crazy. Robbie finds the whereabouts of Addison's widow at his old house through the friend, obviously. Well, he doesn't follow up on this yet. That's later. We find Janet threatened by Silvermane's goons. They're tearing up the office. Ben shows up just in time to see them leave, and Janet officially quits. And this is the problem I have with Janet. Like, what did you think was going to happen when you pulling out the gun, putting it to the head of the head henchman of Silvermane? Like,
she wasn't thinking ahead, man. She wasn't thinking big.
I mean,
she's not about that life.
This had to be in the cards at some point when you're pulling guns on people that regularly use guns and have goons coming to pick people up. Like, what did you think was going to happen? So she quits, and this is the kind of the catalyst, I guess, that forces Ben to go back to being the Spider. He's disappointed. He's lost a really important person in his life, and then he has an envision. He envisions Ruby's death again, and decides to go get the Spider suit back that he hid in the apartment, or the wall of the apartment, his old apartment, with new occupants. And Jordan, if you want to, you can espouse this point of when he pretends to be a maintenance man at this apartment.
Yeah, that scene was just, I love when he kind of walks in. Yeah, I'm familiar with the place. He's real fast talking. Yeah. He almost seems like he's the landlord, really. Yeah. And then I thought that was really funny how he goes in the bathroom, he's clearly breaking down the wall, and they're like, what's going on there? I don't think
it's existential crisis at the moment, if I'm being honest.
I'm like, Jesus. This man comes up, gets his suit out the wall, and then they get back into the bathroom. I was like, I don't think that guy was a plumber.
What killed it for me was the wife closing her eyes in frustration. Like, yeah, no shit. Like,
duh. This guy was such an odd plumber. I'm like, y'all are funny. Once again, another great moment in the show that was very comedic. That balances out serves as a good balance to the show, and the quirkiness of Nick Cage.
Yeah. Robbie goes to the hotel, the Jefferson Hotel, I think, that Addison's friend gives him to find the widow. This was kind of telling, and so we see White's only entrance at the front. So he has to go around to the back where the porters are. He tips the porter $1, and he's like, thanks. And he's like, thank you for the $1. He walks in and confronts her. We find that Addison's widow's been taking all the money that he's supposedly getting paid for this hit job he was trying to do on Silvermane. Riley takes home the suit on the train or bus or whatever. He's sitting next to people, and you see like work. Everybody has their like work briefcase in between their legs. He's got this big like little suitcase with his Spider Noir suit. Let's see. Flint and their friend from the war meetup. Because I still don't know the brother's name yet. The big brother said, "Don't call me brother." They haven't really given him. I didn't want to look into the cast because they haven't officially introduced him, even though we've seen him a couple times. But they're meeting in like some old theater, it looks like, and he's like, "This place is haunted." So it looks haunted, and he says it is. Silvermane is stopped. His vehicle. Oh yeah, we had the moment where Wilson was trying to convince Silvermane not to go to this meetup. He gets the call that it's safe to come by. Silvermane and his like entourage are in his vehicles on the way to the meetup, and they're stopped by Spider Noir in full costume in broad daylight. He's swinging up behind the vehicle, whoops everybody. And then the Spider tells him to back off of Riley. which I think was weird. I understand why he did it, but at the same time, it's like you're cluing people into who you are when you start making threat. Hey, like me, if I was in disguise, I'm like, you need to leave that dude Rod alone. Don't come to his house no more. And look at him, be like, that's kind of a weird ask.
I agree. I fully agree with that. I'm like, you don't think Silvermane's gonna notice that like the spider showed up when he did and
Yeah.
said, stay away from these people surround this, surround these people, surround this particular person.
Yeah.
I'm like, Silvermane, be smart, like Robbie. Well,
Yeah.
no, I guess Robbie already knows. And so Robbie's a smart character. I feel like Silvermane put the pieces together, man. It's pretty obvious. But cool fight scene.
Yeah, it
Chase
was.
scene.
It was.
I liked how he dodged the bullets and then like webbed the steering wheel and was able to flip the car over using momentum of gravity the building. That was cool. I was a little surprised by the violence a little bit. Like I was trying to remember, I'm like, what's this rated? Because like I was surprised because like when he kind of yokes up Homeboy with the spider web and uses him, he points the other guy to shoot the other guy and then takes that guy and uses him as a shield. I was like, I like this. I like
and
this.
And they cuss too.
They are cut. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He seems satisfied with himself back at the office and gets a call from Robbie because Robbie's like, "Is this you? Did you? It's a mess going down." He's like, he's asking if the spider's the one that stopped Silvermane's motorcade, but the cops got a tip about the mix. So who's the snitch? That's what I want to know. Somebody done told the police. Who done told the police on Silvermane? And inadvertently, the ironic thing is that Spider Noir has now saved Silvermane from getting caught up in the cops because he wasn't able to go to the meet where the cops got this tip off about the meet up between his gang and the Canadians slinging whiskey or alcohol, whatever they're bringing, to the party. So that was interesting.
Jocelyn, I want to know who tipped them off.
Yeah,
that's what who tipped them off.
Yeah, what do you think, Jocelyn?
I was gonna say I think he's out of practice.
Yeah, that too. He is a little rusty. When he tried the web sling and got into the upper window, but it worked out in his because he was able to get the radio when the dude ran out of bullets. That was the funny part about that fight scene too, is you hear his like commentary. It was both like Nicolas Cage and typical.
Yeah,
cartoons used to do that too. He would like basically commentate during the fight.
I liked that. I liked that they made that very clear. They didn't make it sound far away, and that it sounded very much like Nicolas Cage. I enjoyed that a lot. But yeah, I love the fight scene. Like I think he's in practice with fighting, which I'm happy about. I just think he's out of practice of being a hero, I guess.
Yeah. He seems a bit rusty he's still good, but he is a bit rusty. And we're seeing that. I think things are going to smooth out the more and more he keeps doing stuff. He won't have those near misses. And his quips will be a little faster. But it was funny. Hey, do you ever run out of bullet time? I guess so.
Shiny.
Yeah, he slung the web up into the building, and it's like old boy thinks he missed him, and you can't really tell whether it's on purpose or not because then he gets smacked with the old school radio comes and knocks him in the head. Like, yeah, they killing in this show because boy, gosh, he Spider grabbed the rifle of one homeboy, pulled and twists to turn it into the other homeboy, then use him as a body shield. Yeah, they killing folks. They're not just
they are.
Not bang power knocking them out like Batman and then walking off.
Boom, pow.
He's letting them get got, killing these fools. So I like the first 2 episodes. I have not watched further yet. I'm trying to have my first watch before we talk and not watch too far ahead. I don't know if you guys are doing the same thing.
I'm watching it piece by piece.
Yeah.
So I'm on 3. I finished 3. I'm working my way to 4. Okay. So I'm actually, I guess it was subconscious, but I knew since we were talking about it. No, even before I knew we were talking about it, somebody was like, don't rush through this because they dropped all the episodes. I'm like, let me just take my time with it. Just being busy with cons, I was like, all right, I didn't really get time to really binge it, so I'm gonna take my time with it. So it's been like the 3rd episode had a nice ending to me. That's all I will say. But like I'm excited about the show. Like it's cool. The second episode we do have. I want to talk about how it ended. So the way Robbie was like on the phone reporting to Ben what's happening, and then like he's like, I ain't trying to die in no phone booth. And then he kind of runs off was really funny to me. I don't know. It felt like this scene felt like something Dave Chappelle would have did back in the day. Like it was just how they edited. Like he'll be like, I gotta get out of here. Like he's that black. He's kind of leaning into that black stereotype. Like I'm not trying to get shot, so I'm trying to get on out of here. So I thought Robbie was really funny, and that was a funny way to end the episode. On top of like we're dealing with Ben's decisions. Yeah. And also more mystery.
The mix of time and genre are kind of painful in some areas when you think about the Great Depression. My boy, hurt me watching him eat that damn ketchup sandwich.
Oh my God.
Yo, I didn't even. That's funny. Tanisha was like, "Was that ketchup?" And I couldn't tell. I was like, "That's got to be jelly. That's got to be like."
It's product. The wife said product placement because you see the Heinz.
I missed the Heinz. Oh, it's disgusting. Yeah. Oh, that's rough.
I saw it. I was so stressed out because it was so much.
Didn't want to believe it. I didn't want to believe it. Had I seen it in color, I would have known. But it was black and white. I was like, man, that can't be.
I saw it in black and white. That was
it can't be ketchup.
But you can't mistake that label though, even in black and white.
I missed that label. That was my bad. I was like, dang, I missed the label.
We don't got no weenies nowhere.
No Vienna sausages in the can. It was just bread and ketchup. I was like, yikes.
And I was also kind of stressing because I knew how fly the suit was. And he's about to take his big old bite of this ketchup sandwich. I'm like, if some of that ketchup spills onto your nice suit and tie, I'm like,
no.
It was so much. It was so much. It was like a full fistful of ketchup.
Yeah,
no.
That was a healthy dollop for that one.
Like a solid goop.
Goop is a better word. That was a goop of ketchup.
A solid goop.
I think the bottle might have been fresh because he wasn't at the point where you had to get the butter knife. It just came out.
Yeah, it was a lot of ketchup in that bottle.
Yeah, he didn't have to hit the bottom of it or nothing.
He said, "I gotta get my ketchup's worth in this sandwich."
Oh, it's crazy.
This counts as a vegetable because it's made from tomatoes.
Oh no! I wonder what Heinz ketchup tastes like back in the day. It was probably good as hell. Probably really was made from tomatoes. It was fresh. Probably did have something healthy, and it's all sugar now.
Yeah, I'm like, man, he did that. He took that straight to the neck and
truly.
Face and all. He just.
I was like, and the thing also, it was one slice of bread. It wasn't like he spread the ketchup on two slices.
Right.
There was one slice of bread and folded it, and I was like, all at once
with one hand. He was practicing.
With one hand, all at once.
He had somewhere he needed to be, y'all. He was rushing. He does that from.
I'm like, if we don't find you some jerky somewhere, like
maybe that'll be part of his character arc where he gets money and he no longer has to eat ketchup sandwiches.
Watch, we're gonna see him. You're gonna see him eating a steak dinner, and he gonna look sideways at a bottle of ketchup.
He gonna give me the steak sauce, and then uses a dollop of steak sauce.
Ooh,
disgust.
Horrible. Yeah. That'll be a tangy ass sandwich. You get a big old dollop of A1 steak sauce. That's horrible. All by itself and bread. You'll be making a face after that. I think, that's crazy. Well, man, I appreciate y'all for taking the time out of your day to chop it up about these things. I'm glad we're all enjoying it because people I watched it with, they wasn't really feeling it.
They wasn't feeling it?
No, they wasn't feeling it. And I was like, it's enough. I don't get. We all like the things we like, and sometimes we don't.
Yeah.
But I'm glad we all like it. I'm enjoying it so far. I'm looking forward to see how this develops. Do you think we get the spider bite? We gonna get the black and white spider bite in this or not?
I don't think so. Because he's already got his powers, right? And he's got the sense.
He does. Well, we got to get a
flashback. Probably.
I mean, they're gonna give it to us.
I like we probably will because we gotta see about what's going on with this 6 months, and so we
Yeah.
can't get we got one flashback, we're gonna get another.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting. But thank you once again. Like I said, for all of you listening later, if you are interested in any of our creative endeavors, we will have the links to our individual websites in the description of this episode when we put it up on Spotify. And we will talk to you all next time, and we'll go through the rest of the Spider Noir.
Peace.
See ya.